Transworld Sport travelled to Kiel on Germany's northern coast to investigate an underground urban activity that's beginning to make waves in the mainstream. They may not be the mean streets, but this bustling Baltic port boasts one crew who brazenly get their kicks on dry land. As a sport, it's at the extreme end of the spectrum, and for its devotees, it's become a way of life. It's called Hockern, and all you need to do it are a stool, an attitude, and an alias.
People who see it for the first time always think someone's taking the mickey out of them. However, that's normal, I think. If you experience something you've never seen before, you may think it's weird. Basically, they think we're nuts.
For me, Hockern is an ideal form of recreation. You take a break from work, spend time with friends over a drink and a cigarette, and release pent-up energy while exercising.
When I first appreciated how great this sport is and that I had to take it up, I realised that I needed to pick an ingenious name for myself. I thought about it for at least a couple of months. Where could I find such a great name? Well, I fell in love with Alfred Hitchcock, and that was what I decided on.
I would describe it as a mixture of rhythmic gymnastics and skateboarding. And there are a few breakdance elements thrown into the mix as well.
It's most fun if you do it to music. A bit of powerful music, power ballads for example, because they really get you going. It's not easy. You have your equipment, your hocker, and it's all about sitting down, but sitting down in a stylish way.
The three men who dared to dream and created Hockern 12 years ago continue to experiment and innovate. And they all clearly remember the day that Hockern was born.
It was a Friday night. I was hanging around with Ben and Romsky, and we were a bit bored.
As I was coming back from the toilet, I knocked over a stool, caught it, and both of them thought it was so amazing, we made something of it.
And we were all so impressed straight away by the idea that you could do tricks with a stool, that we just tried to do tricks ourselves. And that's how the sport was born.
From such humble beginnings, a thriving scene has emerged. And as the sport has developed, techniques and equipment have also progressed.
The first stool we had was my grandma, Oma Roman's. It was an old 1970s style stool which we modified using gaffer tape to make it more sturdy.
This is one of the standard stools we use now. However, this one's got an adhesive film stuck onto it with graphics. It's not my own design. I chose it at a store. It's a great piece of equipment. It's fun using it, and it looks amazing too.
With experience comes wisdom, apparently. So Ben, Den, Romsky and Ork have been happy to mentor youngsters now following the path they first trod so boldly.
I suppose they have achieved some sort of guru status. They invented this scene. And even though they're not the best or most acrobatic Hockerners, they do have great charisma. And in a way, they have become icons. Yes, icons.
Sie sind Kult, kann man sagen, ja.
In fact, the new generation is much more acrobatic and athletic than we used to be. We're slowly growing old, and recently someone said that when we do Hockern, it looks as if we're doing old-school Hockern.
Hockern translates from German literally as to stool, but as competitive stool dancing spreads to new cultures, occasionally something gets lost along the way.
The American translation, extreme sitting, is okay, I guess. However, I think it's much more charming if Americans actually learn the word Hockern and have to say sentences such as,
yesterday I was on a real weird Hockern event.
The main event on the Hockern calendar is the annual Oktoberfest, traditionally held in Kiel in October. It's been running since 2006 and is billed as the sport's world championship, with competitors travelling from as far afield as Austria and the Czech Republic.
At the Oktoberfest, we had 17 contenders. Some performed as a team and others performed as individuals. For the singles, we judged them according to 6 criteria: style, audacity, creativity, acrobatic quality, diversity and poise.
At first, the Oktoberfest was quite an amusing event. But in recent years, the contestants have become much more ambitious, and some of them get quite annoyed if they don't reach the final. They start disputing the results and ask, why didn't I get through? I was better than him or her. Perhaps the fun has gone out of it a little bit, as people's competitive instincts have started to surface.
To the victor, the spoils. So could Hockern go on to conquer the world?
We've been surprised by the number of people from all over Germany and other European countries who have come to take part in the Oktoberfest. It's also spread to the United States and even to Russia and Japan. If the number of people continues to increase as time goes on, who knows what might happen? I even think that it might become an Olympic event.
IOC recognition may seem like pure fantasy, but there's no denying that Hockern has been embraced by hundreds, if not thousands of people, all sharing the same dream of training hard so that they too can one day grab a stool and rock it like a hock star.